Hello, Buckeye Nation. It was so nice to watch that game without hyperventilating or feeling like a heart attack was right around the corner. And that was just the kind of game the team needed as we head into the back half of November. It was amazing to see the Buckeyes put it away on both sides of the ball before halftime. And it helps me feel a little better before we get to the second to the last regular season game against Minnesota, which is the game before this final game against TCUN, those cheaters up north. Let's break it all down more after the intro. Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl. If this is your first time here, my name is Lisa, and I'm the gal behind this channel. Thank you again for tuning in and for the gift of your time. I deeply appreciate you, and I've been having so much fun interacting with everyone on Twitter during the games. You keep Twitter rocking on game day, and I love it so much. That game on Saturday was exactly what we needed. It gave the Buckeyes a chance to fire on all cylinders, and Kyle McCord looked like a QB in control on the field. I think that was hands down his most complete, solid game so far this season. He was slicing and dicing up Michigan State's defense as he marched the offense down the field. And Marvin Harrison Jr., oh my goodness, did he have a day. 149 yards in the air and 19 on the ground with 3 touchdowns? He's making a very convincing Heisman case for himself, and I love to see it. McCord to Harrison feels like it's cheating sometimes, but somehow it's all perfectly legal. I was super impressed with Trevion again this weekend too, as he continues his solid ground game. And also by Cade Stover. That dime to Stover in the end zone for a touchdown was fire. And then that little pitch that McCord had to him on that first drive when it looked like McCord was going to get sacked was a bit risky, but it worked. And honestly, the best way to describe it is the exploding head emoji. Like, how did McCord get the ball through that tight window right to Stover? And then how did Stover catch that one? I actually thought McCord was getting sacked, and I looked away for a split second and then had a total, wait, he did what moment? That was a beautiful game to watch on offense. And while things did slow down offensively in the second half, I'm not complaining. The starters got their chance to get some rest during the second half of that game, and we all got our wish to see some of the young Buckeyes take the field. I have been crowing about the defense for what feels like all season at this point, but once again, they were impressive as heck, keeping Michigan State out of the end zone and limiting them to one single field goal the entire game. Okay, now I want to hear, what are your thoughts on that game that we had this past weekend? What were your favorite parts? What were your takeaways? Go ahead, drop me a comment below about those things. I would love to hear what you're thinking. All right, let's turn our focus to the team of the week, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota is walking into this game at 5-5, having lost games to UNC, Northwestern, TCUN, Illinois, and Purdue. This year has been a down year for them after making it to a bowl game and going 9-4 last year. The Golden Gophers are led by head coach PJ Fleck. He is entering his 7th season as the Golden Gophers head coach after spending time at Western Michigan and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He actually got his feet wet in college football as a GA underneath Jim Tressel for Ohio State in 2006. And he credits Tressel as being one of the most influential people in his life. Fleck is known for bringing the row the boat mantra to Minnesota. However, the Golden Gopher fans are getting a little tired of hearing it but not seeing the results. Fleck's teams follow a version of Tressel ball that has been coined Fleck ball. Basically, it's the run-heavy, conservative style of football that we watched for years when Tressel was our coach. However, fans have been grumbling that Fleck is getting a little too good at being able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. due to his conservative play calling. When it comes to players to know, Athan Kaliakmanis leads the team as a starting quarterback this year. He is a pass-first quarterback, and he's got a very strong arm, which earned him the nickname the Greek Rifle. He is known on the team as being an extremely hard worker and hasn't tried to pass the blame on any of their losses for this season, but he has been the kind of guy who puts his head down to grind harder. While he started the year off ranked dead last in the Big Ten quarterback rankings, he has since worked his way up to being ranked 7th in the Big Ten, which puts him solidly in the middle of the pack. Unsurprisingly, the Golden Gophers have had slightly more success running the ball versus passing the ball, and true freshman Darius Taylor burst onto the scene early in the season and currently leads the team in rushing yards. Unfortunately, though, he has been sidelined due to a leg injury for the past month. Since he's been out, running backs Jordin Nubin and Sean Taylor have had to step in to tote the rock, and they have both seen limited success. It's unclear how long Taylor will be out and if he'll be back for the game this weekend to give the Golden Gophers a spark with their run game. In the receiving game, wide receiver Daniel Jackson, and no, unfortunately not the Daniel Jackson from that sci-fi TV show, leads the team in receiving yards, followed by wide receiver Crooms Jr. and tight end Brevyn Spann-Ford. Jackson is currently leading the team in touchdowns scored as well, with 7 of the total 20 touchdowns scored, and one of them earlier in the season was a spectacular toe-tapping touchdown, not too unlike what we are used to seeing from our very own WRU. On defense, linebacker Maverick Baranowski leads the team with 50 total tackles. Defensive linemen Danny Strigo and Ja Joyner have been sack machines. Safety Tyler Nubin, who is the older brother of running back Jordin Nubin, has been quite disruptive in pass defense, racking up 4 interceptions so far. Overall, the defense has been the stronger part of this Minnesota team, with the defense being ranked 52nd and the offense being ranked 111th. Fun fact, Michigan State's offense was ranked 111th last weekend before we played them. And that turned out pretty well for the Buckeyes. So what's your feel of this upcoming game against Minnesota? Go ahead, drop me your thoughts below. I want to know how you are predicting this game will go. I think that we might see a game similar to what we saw last weekend against Michigan State, especially with our fire defense matching up against their struggling offense. I think our defense is once again going to show us a lights out performance, holding Minnesota to less than 2 touchdowns. And I think the Buckeye offense will continue their upward trajectory, especially with the passing game, as it appears Minnesota's passing defense is the weaker part of their defense. I think this will be another enjoyable game to watch as a Buckeye fan, and the perfect confidence builder before the team rolls into Ann Arbor. I've been trying not to look ahead to the game as much as I possibly can, but guys, it is almost time. And while the rivalry has been forever tainted by the cheating that went down these past couple of years, this year's game is shaping up to be a major collision. It's looking like we will get 2 0-11 teams heading into the last game of the season, and the Buckeye angst feels like it's at an all-time high against those cheaters. I thought the Buckeye era summed up the build-up pretty darn well. All cheating allegations and stats aside, in 2 weeks, we are gonna see a war like no other. Both teams have drive, power, and weapons. I think we will see a great game from both sides. I feel the same way, and I am salivating thinking of this year's matchup and how the Buckeyes need to lay the smackdown on November 25th. It's gonna be an awesome build-up next week. But until then, let's soak up this second to the last regular season game as we get to watch our beloved Buckeyes take the field one last time in Ohio Stadium this year. Let's enjoy this final tune-up game against Minnesota before it's time for the all-out war. All right, that's all I got this time. I'll see you on the other side of the game. OH.